Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for Game 3. Kenos here with Jeff and Arcane Soda. Jeff, we had some thoughts from the analyst desk. Do you have any sort of things to add that you want to see for this Game 3?
Just to piggyback on what a couple of our analysts were saying, playing slow, playing for late game, trying to scale is not working for Northern Storm. It's tricky to play that way regardless, but I said before this series I was excited because we saw Northern Storm be so aggressive last week. I thought we'd see more of that this week. I thought that we'd see some explosive early game confrontations, but those explosions have only been going one way so far. So I'd like to see Northern Storm make an adjustment and maybe try to match Blitzkrieg's aggression.
And how about you, Soda?
Some of the picks for what they were going to do, I think was touched on as well, seemed to be kind of mismatched for their lane opponents for trying to stall for the late game. So if you're convinced that you want to go towards the late game, you need to be able to play around it better in the early game and just have more cohesive picks that work with each other better into a comp that evolves throughout the game. But I do kind of agree with Jeff. I want to see them move to more of an early game team and just try to fight them in the early game and try to just brute force the way through this game. They got their backs against the wall. They got nothing to lose. So let it fly.
Yep, we have seen that before, and we hopefully will see it again. We will head over to the analyst desk now to take a look at the picks and bans. Analysts, here we are.
Hello, everyone. Kenos, thank you for a wonderful handshake over. I know going into this game 3, we all sounded pretty on board with Blitzkrieg finishing this out strong, but I think this could be the opportunity for him to turn it around. Blitzkrieg on the blue side does ban out the Seraphine. J-Dog receives his Darius ban. Anivia comes out again. It looks like Blitzkrieg saying if it ain't broke, we're not going to fix it. They're just peppering in the same bans as always. They want to take that MF away, as that is definitely enabling J-Dog and Brandana with these solid team fights. I mean, it's very easy for MF to just stand in the back, press R, and keep doing what you're doing. Lilia ban comes out. I don't agree with that. I think there's some other priority bans you could have got across. I think Jester has shown Pistol Crab has shown his pool's deep enough that Lilia ban really doesn't stop you. And considering Viego's now up, I don't agree with that. We did see the Kaisa ban, Kaisa pick come out for Blitzkrieg. That's going to be more mobility, just like in the last game. We saw him utilize that to secure fights and objectives. The Amumu pick coming out from Northern Storm, very strong team fighting, much more objective focused. If you can get there first, you usually get the objective with Mumu. So that's really great. I think that's a big change for them. We actually see Peach going on to the Rel. Rel solid engage, very strong CC, playing into the team fight comps that Blitzkrieg have been playing. That could be a very smart pick when you're trying to not give over as many objectives as I think Northern Storm's trying to. We're waiting on these third picks to come across. Gentlemen, what do we think so far about the we did see the Viego pick come across, as I mentioned, it was still up. What do we think about this now Northern Storm pick? Is there these first two picks, as we're seeing the third one come across?
Feels like Token's driving. I think the Hecarim last game and the Amumu this game, two of his comfort picks when he was playing jungle last split. I mean, for good reason though. They're solid champions. They, opting for more engage this game. I think they're gonna try to kick it up a notch a little bit in the early game. Here's hoping, anyways.
I believe so, but here's a scaling pick out of them, Tristana, which is a very strong flex pick. It fits into a lot of solo lanes, and it also is still a meta AD in the bot, so it could be an enlightened flex pick. Makes pick ban much more difficult on Blitzkrieg, as you see them taking more than their 10-second go quick. Looks like lots of people in chat are calling for the Malzahar. I think this is, they're baiting it. I think the Tristana's mid, and that's why Blitzkrieg are not falling for the bait. They're banning the Malzahar. If Tristana is on Token or Slack, I think that's still solid. And a much safer laner in mid, going into the carry that Brandana's shown. So, we'll see. We'll see where it ends. It could be something good. We did see the Zed and the Corky bands come across, so Brandana got the target on his back in the mid lane. Last band from Blitzkrieg still coming out. And it is the Ornn. Blitzkrieg scared of the scaling? Or they just don't think that there are any valid bans? I think
This
it's
is
more likely
the
than
one
two.
game that I actually would have preferred today, getting Ornn again, just because the team fight comp that they have right now would have been great. But Malphite is just as good.
The Malphite pickup is very strong, and as long as you don't Malphite with Tristana as well, I think there's some strong team fighting here. This is a much more solid answer to these continual concession objectives that Blitzkrieg keep getting, where it's, well, we can't fight them. Well, we're not there first. Well, we can't be there because we're giving up other places.
Here's the I guess weird thing though, is because tankier Malphite is the stronger build, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. You probably want to go full AP Malphite, right? With a Moo.
Into Renekton, I don't know.
I'm not
you get
talking
so
about
much
for the
benefit.
lane.
Maybe. You would need a solid target to explode, because full AP Malphite plays more like a early team fight assassin, where you're trying to deal as much damage as possible at the onset of the team fight.
Diego's pretty easy to burst down if you can actually get that damage onto him. And honestly, I think that's the biggest mistake of this entire pick ban phase was, why did you ban Lilia? Lilia's damage was not, the Lilia was not the game changer in my opinion last game. Pistol Crab in general was, and Viego's just way more impressive.
They continue the team fight picks with the Nico. Full buy-in on AoE damage. I think there are some interesting choices to be made. Is this on-hit Nico or is this full AP? I certainly hope that it's on-hit. That's a much better laning phase, I believe, for Nico. I like the Malphite for two reasons. It's not just an engage tool, but if Diana thinks that she can go in and get that huge collapse ultimate on some of these more squishier targets, Malphite just gets to press R on her. So I think that it has a lot of duality there that makes this a pretty good pick. This is an LCUS comp if I've ever seen one coming out of Northern Storm. Safe lanes, don't do anything except team fight over objectives, and that's it. Very easy to execute comp. I'm excited to see it pulled off. I like the Renekton pick. Now, if we're going to talk about Blitzkrieg, I like the Renekton pick. I certainly think that he's very strong, but he's usually a blind pick, or he's into a melee champion. I know Malphite is melee range, but he's got some pretty far reach once he uses his W and Q. So I don't know if I agree with the pick, but it does have shield breaking as well, which would hit the Malphite. I still don't know if I agree with counter, but good on you, J-Dog, showing your champion pool. What are your thoughts about this Blitzkrieg comp out of Chaosix?
I mean, it's kind of similar to all their other ones, and all their other ones worked. So, I mean, put simply, it just seems good. It's fine. It's a fine draft. I'm actually much more interested in Northern Storm's draft because they're really, throwing the rocks at the wall. Just gonna go all in on the engage. I'm really excited to see if they are actually able to do something in the early game.
Well, you've only got one safety pin. If you don't win these team fights, you only have the Tristana scaling late game to give you a mechanic to come back. But that being said, with these picks, you really don't fall behind, because a Moo can still hit Q and R. The Malphite can still hit R. There's still lots of solid choices to be made.
Weirdly enough, I think a lot of Northern Storm's success on this game, the community is going to go wild when I say this, it really does fall on Peach this game, though. Rel is, so we've seen, well, if you pay attention to like win rates and things like that, as far as the league goes, Rel's win rate for low elo is very bad, but for high elo is insanely good, and it's because she has to, she's a difficult champ to be really good with. But if you are really good with, you can impact your team so much. You can turn off a lot of these other champions, like the Diana, the Renekton, who's going to want to try and backline. They're just not going to get there. The Viego. So no pressure, but Peach, I'm really hoping you show us how Rel is supposed to be played, because if you do, Northern Storm's just entire draft is really good this time around. It's my favorite one they've done all night, and this could be your comeback game.
Yeah, quick note on that, actually. I think Northern Storm's draft would have been a little bit better in my eyes if they had replaced Nico with Oriana. You've got a lot of really good Oriana ball targets in Malphite, Namumu, and Rel just diving in there, and you can get like a really easy 4-man ult after Namumu hits his ult or Malphite hits his. And Oriana does plenty of damage, right? So I think that would have been pretty good, but we'll see.
We will have to see. Folks, we're getting ready to go into a very critical, very important Game 3. Northern Storm has a lot on the line, really hoping that they can begin the traction towards a reverse sweep. Blitzkrieg have shown that they're more than capable and able to win this game, so I'm excited to see how Game 3 plays out. Game point for Blitzkrieg or potential reverse sweep for Northern Storm, we'll have to see. Kinos, back to you.
All right, let's head into the live broadcast again. Got a quick look at the skins here. Lack of skins once again. Different team this time, though.
This time, Northern Storm is revolting. That's fine. I'm a huge proponent of IG Kaisa and the IG skin line in general, so I will gladly give this skin battle over to Blitzkrieg.
Well, especially because they got the best Swain skin.
And if I'm not mistaken, Northern Storm won both of the previous skin battles and lost the games. Yes. So maybe this time they intentionally threw the skin battle, hoping to change their fortunes.
Yep, we'll see if it works out for him.
Oh, looks like maybe a level 1 play coming out from Northern Storm here. Throwing caution to the wind. Brandana does see them though, so the ruse is up very quickly.
Best laid plans. Yeah. Alon Z points out in chat, there's no way that no one on Northern Storm doesn't have a skin. That's correct. I think we can all agree it's intentional. It's a choice.
Oh, we know this. Token, at the very least, has I think he's used Dragon Trainer and everyone has Riot Girl, so you know.
Do the meme from Spider-Verse. It's a choice.
It's a choice.
Those junglers starting bot side again. I was saying earlier, I really would like to see Northern Storm maybe try to prioritize bot side a little more or something. Because I think playing into top side is just what Blitzkrieg wants to do. So maybe allocate some resources somewhere else.
That would be interesting. I'd be all for it. You know, something to change it up, basically, is what we're looking for here. And as we know from previous Malphite games, Malphite is made to suffer up in the top lane with no help. So we'll see if they try to follow that up at all. Obviously, with Amumu, there's a lot you can do with that built-in CC package that he's got. So we'll see where they prioritize. But, I mean, on the same hand, shouldn't you get some more focus in the mid lane? Brandana's basically been living there, uncontested.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, quick crash down from Peach down to the bot lane. Look at that early aggression, double flash right away. So respectful. Now they go back in. I have no idea why you would do that. Smokey the Bear is going to die for it. There's still level 1. Token might get 2, not quite.
Token flashes away. He could have just gone for the W reset right away. Thinks about it a little too late. And they take the first kill, which is very, very important for them. Definitely showing that they're not out of this series yet.
Yeah.
Just to touch on the little mid lane thing, I think I agree that Jester should try to focus mid lane a little bit more here to keep Brandana in check. It was difficult last game because Zed is just not a very easy to gank champion, but Diana has a little bit more vulnerability to that. So
yeah, I think this is the first blood that Northern Storm has gotten today. So I'm pretty sure that's correct. So that'll give them some good tempo.
Yeah, it was really a misplay though by Blitzkrieg down there. They double flashed away, the engagement was over, and they turned around while still level 1. And for some reason thought that the fight would get better for them in that situation.
I can see the root of that though, because they did get a root onto Token there and thought they could maybe quickly burst him down, but unfortunately Token was able to rocket jump, finish off Smokey the Bear, and just squash that theory.
Yeah, there's a lot of concerns that can happen with those sorts of plays, especially like you said at level 1. But you grab a hard pushing ADC with a move like Smokey did, and it's hard to not want to go back into it. But we will see. Slack once again getting bullied pretty hardcore. Wants to try to turn it around.
Ignite. Not quite enough.
Not quite enough, but both need to be very careful now. They're both very low. Top lane continues to be an aggressive noodle fight.
Actually, great for Slack, as long as he doesn't get ganked, doesn't go down, because he has the teleport, Brandana does not, so Slack really controls the pace of this lane for the foreseeable future. And we have Peach roaming up from the bot side. I really like how often Peach has roamed up throughout this split. Don't think they're going to get anything here, though.
Vigo is going to see it if Peach is there much longer. Does.
Oh. And now, yeah, here is Pistol Crab. Slackosaurus with no flash, no way out, just stuck around too long. Really, really interesting.
Yeah, I appreciate that, you know, playing kind of safe, but at the same time, you know, you're 2 games behind. I think you got to play even more safe. You got to go home when you're weak, because if you show back up, especially with that teleport, when your opponent's weak, that's going to force it back from them as well.
Yeah, and that quick kill in the mid lane there opens up a free, uncontested Drake there. Northern Storm not willing to walk into that at a disadvantage. So, good restraint by them there. We see Token using that first blood gold to get a cull. So, trying to farm up as much as he can. Actually, I believe he started with the cull. I could be wrong on that.
I personally disagree with Northern Storm not contesting that Drake, because they had a ward in the Pixel Brush right near the pit. They knew Brandana had to back. Actually, they jump in onto J-Dog. They're going to punish him for the aggression this time, as I believe our analyst desk was talking about doing. But I think in that dragon fight, you would have had a 4v3, because you knew Brandana had to go back. You had Jester OG in the area when you knew it was started, because you had Scuttle Crab vision.
I think that that was sort of what you're trying to do against that gank that just happened up top, is what you kind of want to do against a Renekton, because I think J-Dog was pocketing that ultimate and was just waiting to use it, but then you get the stacking disables and there's nothing a Renekton, or anyone else, can do for that matter. So, nice to see Northern Storm making those rotations, getting a little more jungle presence. Do have a good jump in there by Token, poke Smokey down a little bit. Smokey taking a lot of punishment in this series.
It's really interesting. I'm not very well versed in Swain. Actually, they do get a grab onto Token. Nice crash down from Peach just to defend the AD carry. Oh, that's a really, really interesting flash. No vision for Tilted Pig. He does eventually get it, but the explosive charge is on him. Can they take down Peach? No. Good job by Peach to finish the kill, but it will get traded back. So a 2-for-1 in the bot lane for Blitzkrieg that time.
You were talking about Swain?
Yeah, I feel like Smokey is the squishiest Swain I've seen in a long time. Just in all 3 games, it seems like, you know, you expect Swain to be sort of, you know, just generally a little bit durable, especially for a support that does do some decent damage, but just seems like, I'm not sure what runes he's running, or maybe I'm just wrong, but he seems to be melting a little faster than I expect to see Swain's melt. Jester misses the bandage toss in mid lane, unfortunately.
Yeah, missed a couple of bandage tosses, both in jungle and mid. I think that part of what's happening with Smokey on this Swain is that he's the only one who actually has the vulnerability. Because at most points in these games, we have seen every other lane position. Speaking of lane positions here, Jester or Pistol's going to go down thanks to Jester and Bidet.
Yeah, that was pretty nice. Maybe a little bit of overconfidence from Pistol Crab there. Got the crab, but you're walking right next to a Malphite, so you can just pop that ult on you any second.
Yeah, as
actually, Bidet ulted the crab and stole it away.
Oh, wow. Really nice.
As Queen Elizabeth saying in chat, you aren't an actual damage or tank goddess Swain until item 2. And so he is that vulnerable chink in the armor of Blitzkrieg compared to every single other player who has basically been on point in terms of survivability, in terms of damage. Swain doesn't really have those for a while, so he's been the one that's getting picked off while everyone else is just excelling.
Yeah, obviously, you know, I'm not expecting Swain to be tanking the early game, but even as the first 2 games went on, just seemed like he was melting a little faster than I expect, at least personally.
And I think part of that was in the first game, especially he was just kind of the center of attention because it was an easier thing to quickly, based on positioning, pick off and try to get gold in their pockets for the side of Northern Storm.
Yeah, they were going for the weak target, and I mean, that's fine. They were able to get kills off of it, but unfortunately, that means that they weren't focusing their damage on the other potential threats, and that hasn't really helped them out very much.
So taking stock now, much better opening from Northern Storm so far. They did give up that first Drake, but they do have a gold lead. I think this is the first time in this series they've had a gold lead at this point in a game as we come up to 10 minutes. Got that.
Herald's going to go over to Pistol Crab here, so potentially going to build a little gold lead, throwing that. You generally like to see it go mid to try to open up that mid lane as soon as possible, but they've definitely used it. The top lane the first game, and then mid lane twice, I believe.
Yeah, we'll see where he decides to go with it. It's easier to dive a side lane, and then you can set up, kind of combo that with a Rift Herald play. But I agree with you that if you get a chance to drop it mid lane, and you're sure you'll get optimal usage out of it, that's definitely better.
Yeah, Dragon is up.
Oh boy, nice catch. Oh, I really like the Jester Flash for that. There's the Magnet Pull as well from Princess Peach. Big time plays from the Northern Storm bot side.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing the power of this Amumu over and over again now. We've got a real playmaking force with Jester on this Amumu, and that is allowing them to get those sorts of good engages that they've sort of been missing. And this will be the first Dragon Northern Storm has gotten?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think that's correct. If anything, they maybe had one game 1, but they did not have any game 2. That is a fact. So they get this Infernal Drake. We are going to have Ocean's Soul.
And speaking... Sorry, go ahead, Kenos.
I was just going to say, I'm very interested to see if they're able to turn this advantage now into turrets as well, because they haven't gotten... They may have got 1 turret game 1, but no turrets game 2. So I'd like to see them now start turning this momentum into some objectives, really get their foot in the door.
Well, and they have an ADC that's better at pushing towers now. They don't have a Senna or an Ezreal that doesn't really have great wave clear. They've got the Tristana, who loves just annihilating minion waves and has that E to do that extra damage to towers. So this is
top side.
Kind of the tools that they need to be able to start actually pushing out and getting pressure on the map, and they've got the lead for it too.
I like this teleport by Slack coming up, helping out his top laner.
Jester's in the area as well, but it looks like Blitzkrieg is just going to take the charge and waddle away.
Yes, I think both teams are probably fine with how that play went. Getting the 3rd and 4th plates is pretty nice. Those are tougher plates to take down. And they get the teleport out of Slack as well. But at the same time, if you're Northern Storm, you're happy that you didn't lose more than just 2 plates on that play. Speaking of, Brandon jumping in onto Slack, chunks them down real low, real quick.
Yeah, not even that much effort put into it, and already Slack at half health. So Brandana's already scary for those squishier characters. With that first completed item of the Night Harvest.
Oh, Ignite could come out. Does it even need to? It does. I think it will get the kill. Slack, decent job trying to trade back, but just too much of a health bar disadvantage going into that.
They do spot out Pistol Crab here.
Oh, Token jumping in again. Smokey the Bear once again taken really, really low. Token will flash in, but the Buster shot is not enough damage. Sexy Bidet is here. Nice Unstoppable Force. Tilted Pig in a lot of trouble. Will they both walk away from this, though? That would be incredible. It looks like they will. Pistol Crab and Jester are duking it out near the blue, and Pistol Crab is going to go down, so they do end up getting a kill. Not sure if Pistol Crab really needed to go back in that situation.
Yeah, and Token using so many resources there to try to get the reset. If he gets the reset on either one of those, that's a double kill down there, but at least they're able to clean up Pistol Crab in the river.
Who would win, the king of the undead or a crying little boy?
Obviously, the crybaby little boy.
Well, the crybaby is also a mummy, right? So, mummies...
Probably also an undead king, you know?
King of undead sadness.
I like the 3 plated steel caps coming out early game from Northern Storm. It's a lot of auto attack based damage on the side of Blitzkrieg in this comp.
And we have another mid lane rotation. Peach stealing CS on the top side, or in the mid side.
And speaking of CS, as you pointed out, that we should maybe expect Kenos. Big disadvantage for the Malphite up there. Has the 1 kill and assist though, so that'll help curb the gold disadvantage a little bit.
Yeah, 1,700 gold variation between these two. Mid lane is 1,000 wise in favor of Brandana.
An interesting teleport play here from J-Dog. Oh boy, I don't know if he knows that Jester saw him though. Who is hunting who in this situation? Pops the Dominus quick. Oh, he fails the second dash over the wall though, so now he's trapped over there. Slack will catch onto Pistol Crab. Everybody's just going to join this in a staggered fashion, and J-Dog actually escapes for now. Big old shield, and the heal is enough. Now Brandana has arrived. Sexy Bidet in a lot of trouble. Somehow Blitzkrieg got away with that, and it looks like they're going to get even more. Jester will drop as well. That's going to be some shutdown gold going over to Brandana.
Yeah, it looked like
Go ahead, Soda.
it looked like Bidet got baited into that, flashing over the wall. Didn't have the ult available. Meanwhile, we have a fight breaking out in the bot lane. And it looks like Smoke Bear is just going to Token just relentlessly all-inning this poor early game Swain.
That was a really nice engage from Peach as well. Really aggressive with the crash down.
I think if the game does end up going in Blitzkrieg's direction, that fight in the jungle is going to be the turnaround there. Very well executed by J-Dog, able to get over that wall. And good rotations by his teammates. So we'll see if that is what happens. Obviously, Northern Storm is in a much better spot, but the gold lead has swung back. We do have everyone rotating up here, though. Let's see if they're able to get anything done.
Another jump in from Token. That one was a little more conservative than some of the other ones. Sort of jumped to the side looking for a safer entry angle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, flash burn by Tilted Pig there. No mana, did not want to get caught out there, so better safe than sorry.
Yeah, depending
at this
on
point, go ahead.
Depending on what Pistol Crab wants to do here, this might be first turret for Northern Storm. A lot of pings coming, so yeah, they're clearing up the minion wave. Can't sleep on Swain's Force Lightning.
I want to go back and watch that skirmish in the topside jungle, because it really felt like when J-Dog failed that second dash over the wall initially, that he was gonna be in a lot of trouble. But
I think the biggest problem for Northern Storm there was Brandana made it to the fight, and then the fight ended.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely part of it. The other issue was that while the Renekton did end up not escaping to the best of his ability, you were up against an Amumu and a Malphite who don't deal the most damage in the world. So he had plenty of time for cooldowns to follow their path. Oh, Bidet
going in, looking for a steal on the Rift Herald. I don't think he got it, and now he's in a lot of trouble. Flashing from Jester, trying to save his top laner. Princess Peach is here as well, but Bidet's already gone. Curse of the Said Mummy already used. Again, everybody's just joining. Oh, what a job by Brandana to get past the ult of Slackosaurus, picking up a couple of kills. Blitzkrieg starting to run away with this one again. It seems Token's all alone. Does get 1 kill, but drops in response.
Yeah, that was a river-wide fight, and we missed the bottom half of it for the most part there. But once again, all the difference made when Brandana does those heads-up rotations. And suddenly Brandana is just like... basically is the force that rotates these fights in the direction of his team.
Yeah, the kill gold there actually goes onto Tilted Pig, so that lead that Token's been working so hard to gather is just slightly diminishing.
Oh, Jester, I'm not sure if you wanted that one, my friend. Tanky
Yeah.
enough that he should get away.
If ult was available, that would have been huge, but unfortunately it is not.
J-Dog and Pistol Crab have to be a little bit respectful here. J-Dog is really playing with fire, and he's gonna get burned. Token gets a nice shutdown, and that was a pretty big mistake, I think.
Yeah, I think what Northern Storm needs to do here is they need to... I like the ambition and the initiative they're taking in trying to find these optimal fights, but if Token's not there, I don't think you can fight. Because the top half of your map is basically losing head-to-head, despite the junglers being relatively even.
Yeah, 6-2-1 on Token here. Most of those kills are probably Swain, but that goes for basically all of Northern Storm this past couple of games. So we'll see what they can accomplish. We got a big rotation coming down here. Slack and Bidet.
Oh, Slack's in so much trouble. Flashes away, and Pistol Crab will follow him. They'll pick up another kill. Double buffs on this Vigo. And now he has the Nico kit, so we'll see what happens with that. Bidet goes in, looking for the big ult. There's the combo! Peach goes in as well. They haven't gotten any kills yet, but now they will take down Tilted Pig. But in the backline, Pistol Crab and J-Dog are wreaking havoc. Brandana's not even here. We've talked about him being the swing factor in these fights, but it's not even going to be the case. Look at Pistol Crab using the rocket jump himself, turning it around on Northern Storm. A triple kill for J-Dog. Brandana's just on his lonesome in the mid lane. We might be seeing the beginning of the end here now.
Yeah, that was rough. And it's one of those things that we saw the chat commenting on, is leaving Pistol Crab this Vigo is so dangerous. Just absolutely harnessing every ability that every member of the teams have to their advantage, especially someone like Tristana. I mean, you just hand that mobility over and suddenly they're just bouncing all over the place.
And Pistol Crab utilizing that Nico kit so well, because at the start of the fight, they all end on the Nico clone.
Oh,
yeah.
Token might be a little tilted right now.
Yeah,
Pretty
that
reckless jump in that time. Pistol Crab might be in trouble. Does he have the rocket jump available? He actually uses the Heartbreaker beautifully to dodge away from Bidet. I think he will escape from this as well. Maybe even go back in. One more Q, doesn't quite have the damage. Tilted Pig on the chase.
Good
Flash from Bidet.
I like that flash quite a lot.
And
But,
Brandana,
yeah.
meanwhile, just up in the top lane now.
I didn't want to interrupt talking about the fight to say it, but the fact that Bidet blew his ultimate on a Nico clone.
Oh, I actually missed that. That's rough.
Well, he blew his ult on the Nico clone, and then Token followed up and all-in'd it.
Yeah.
And it got so low, and I was so confused at why Pistol Crab was in that fight with full health and didn't die, and then I had to go back and rewatch the fight and realize that was the clone.
And again, it's utilize the power of Vigo being able to utilize all those different abilities. He's like a Silas, but even more intricate.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you guys, Token went with the Immortal Shield Bow, which gives you, some safety, gives you the shield, the lifeline shield, but at this point, I feel like Token is really their only damage, and I think that they really needed him to go Kraken Slayer or Gale Force.
I'll let you take that one.
I agree with you that he is like all their damage at this point, but I still think Shield Bow is the correct choice because he's all their damage, but there's a lot of burst on the side of Blitzkrieg, and without that little bit of extra shield from Shield Bow, he is in a lot of trouble because if he doesn't have Rocket Jump available, he's basically dead to rights.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives him a little bit of extra durability and sustain through the fights to potentially carry through the fights.
Yeah, we do have some comments in chat saying that Kraken Slayer is really busted on Tristana right now. But it can be kind of rough when you are the only damage dealer, balancing the need to survive versus the need to deal even more damage. And there is always the memes about, well, they can't kill you if they're dead, but that doesn't really work when you're up against a team that's this scary as Blitzkrieg is.
The other problem with Kraken Slayer against this comp is there's not really a lot of tank line from the side of Blitzkrieg, so Shield Bow just feels like a better choice in my opinion.
Oh, flash in from Jester. They're looking for the big play, looking to make the stand right here. They do catch on to 2. They will get 2 kills here. Brandana will drop afterward. That'll be a nice shutdown going over to Slack. So a quick 2 kills. J-Dog pushing for free up in the top side. And Tilted Pig is actually stuck around for some reason. Jester OG gets another bandage toss onto him. Pistol Crab and Tilted Pig trying to run away. I think only one will get away. No, they both will, actually. So
yeah, a lot of speed.
A little bit of an overstay, but... And Pistol Crab actually able to sneak back in and steal away the blue. Nice engage there from Northern Storm. I appreciate that they're willing to pull the trigger here.
Yeah, that was a great play there by Jester. Little foreshadowed by the fact that Peach had his aura on him, but you know, it is what it is. So we will see what the next step here is in Northern Storm's attempt to get back into this game. They are down by about 7k gold, dragon up in 90 seconds, give or take, and very few wards in important positions on the map, which is just going to hurt them in the long run.
I'm wondering, is this next dragon fight make or break? I feel like once again Blitzkrieg aren't really getting an optimal soul for their team composition.
Well, that's true, but also, you know, any extra durability or, you know, regen that allows them to keep these fights going is all the better for them. But, you know, I mean, it's another question of how early do you want the Elder to be? And maybe Northern Storm thinks about trying to steal Baron? I don't know if they have the damage for that, though.
Yeah, it looked like they were thinking about trying to sneak it if Blitzkrieg were to go all 2 dragon, but maybe pulling off of that for now.
So,
At this point, I just really feel like every fight is about Token for Northern Storm. I think that if he goes down, you know, everyone just needs to run for the hills.
yeah, speaking of people going down, this is going to be a really bad face check here.
Actually, they stay alive for now, but Jester will eventually drop both big ultimates already used. Token is still alive, though. There's the shield bow shield. Will he make me look stupid? He doesn't quite get it done. Tilted Pig able to flash away. Slack looking for a big ult at the end, but can't get it. And, yeah, Tilted Pig walked away with what looked like maybe about 30 health. Brandano taken low as well, but still a fight win for Blitzkrieg.
Yeah, and once again, J-Dog is just alone up in this top lane. Looks like Peach and Slack might be thinking about trying this dragon, but I don't think that's a good idea. Yeah, they're...
Yeah, this would be dangerous. J-Dog does have teleport as well, so it could become a 3-on-2.
Yeah, Slack missing more of the snares. I wonder if there... I'd almost wonder if there's like some internet issues here, because I've seen just consistently Northern Storm has been missing all of their skill shots. Brandana is very low, though.
Yeah, Tilted Pig should be on the dragon right now, in my opinion, because you want that 4th plasma stack to secure this. They do get it anyways. Now it's Slack against Tilted Pig. Will he pick the right one? He doesn't. Now he turns back around, and help is coming from Vigo soon, so Slack just has to run. Meanwhile, we've got a 1v1 up in the top side. Jester OG and J-Dog. Token shows up. He can't quite save his jungler, but they do get the trade kill.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Brandana stuck around there, but or not Brandana, Slack stuck around there, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it looked like he could have just walked away, and it's confusing why he opted to stay in there. But this Amumu here is just showing just how resilient he is, withstanding J-Dog for so very long, almost surviving with the help of Token, but not quite able to make it out.
And that was something that I was...
Go ahead.
I was going to say before the action by the Dragon Pit is that all eyes may be on Token during these fights, but I'm actually watching Jester. Which may come from my bias toward tanks, but also Amumu's the playmaker here. Amumu is the one who opens these fights. He lands the one good ultimate, lands the pull into the one good ultimate, I should say, and sets the tempo for these fights. If the Amumu ult is not there, I don't think they can win any of these engagements, regardless of where Token is.
Yeah,
Well, and he's got the
absolutely.
support of the Malphite and the Rel to help facilitate those scenarios. If he can't find an angle and Bidet sees an opportunity, he can just ult in and create that opportunity for Jester to layer the CC there, or vice versa.
Looks like there's some lurking here, maybe a couple of calls to try Baron. Oh, but they get spotted in the bush.
Wow, that was an MVP scrying plant right there. Catches all 4 of them in that bush. 1-3-1 being set up by Blitzkrieg right now.
Yeah, with that teleport still. And unfortunately, they have to fall back to defend their inhibitors as Pistol is pushing in.
Yeah, nice control here from Blitzkrieg. J-Dog could be in trouble again, though. Once again, caught behind enemy lines, but I don't think there's going to be enough damage to really punish him here yet. Token's starting to walk over, and I think J-Dog maybe should have started retreating a lot sooner than he did. Token about to arrive, should get himself another kill. J-Dog flashes, I don't think it'll matter. But the Baron being taken by Blitzkrieg on the other side, that's a good call from them.
Well, fortunately for them, the fact that J-Dog is dead means that J-Dog will not get that Baron buff. So one of the split pushers will be slightly weaker. And Elder Dragon's not for another 3 minutes. So we'll have to see if Northern Storm can hang in there. Gold lead is almost 10k now.
Yeah, it's really sort of sneakily climbed up there. You know, we had a relatively even game up until, what was it? Maybe 20 minutes, or not even 20 minutes ago, maybe 10 minutes ago. And Blitzkrieg started to accelerate away, but give credit to Northern Storm. They've hung in there since the momentum started to shift.
Yeah, I think in this game, I can't tell if Blitzkrieg is playing sloppier or more cautious in that they aren't grouping as much. But it's leading to these sorts of situations where, like right here, Token sees Pistol Crab. They pretty much know Pistol Crab is alone, but they don't really take advantage of it.
Yeah, maybe that would have been an opportunity for a play. No big objectives on the map right now, though, so you wouldn't really be rewarded too heavily, even if you were to get a pick there.
Gold, lost experience. Jester's a full level behind Pistol Crab. Getting that Amumu to 16 would be nice. Does have almost 3,000 health, though. Peach also getting up there a little in durability. Bidet as well. A lot of pings all over the map. Where to focus. Fortunately, once again, J-Dog does not have that Baron buff, so he's not able to tear through quite as well. It looks like
the very tip of the bandage toss caught him, but he's able to dash away.
Yeah, and that distraction now lets the Baron enhanced team members come into the mid lane. Amumu's ult is available, so a play could be made here, but they'd wisely fall back seeing him come in.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that Jester didn't use that Curse of the Sad Mummy up there to try to guarantee the pick on J-Dog, but obviously it's not necessarily optimal use to use that kind of ultimate on just one team member as well.
Yeah, especially when you have 4 other members knocking on the other door. I think if J-Dog was pushing alone with no other aggression, that would have been the call, but... And now Pistol and a couple other members of the team are taking out this other turret. So a lot of sandwiching going on here. They may lose all 3 inhibitors with just a lot of back and forth shuffling. No one on Northern Storm seems to want to commit too much. They just want to be playing passive. But now they've just lost 2 inhibitors.
Yeah, you gotta pull the trigger.
I really like the way Blitzkrieg is playing this. They're being very mindful with how they're pressuring back and forth in each of the lanes, and now we got a fight breaking out.
Yeah.
Token actually used his jump already, and then it was a nice stopwatch, and now Token's in a lot of trouble in the backline. He uses a stopwatch as well, actually, so the Congressman's going to get a lot of calls, but Tilted Pig is on a killing spree now. Everybody's going really low. Tilted Pig jumps in. Brandana's there to find him. There's the ace. That'll be the nail in the coffin. Blitzkrieg, what a dominant run through Split 7, all the way to a 3-0 in the finals.
Almost breaking the original Northern Storm's record, but not quite. And a good effort by Northern Storm at the start of this game, but you can't stop the Blitzkrieg.
Yeah, it definitely came out of the gates strong this game, showed that they weren't done yet, and Blitzkrieg kind of just had to give him the nod and then showed him that we're not done either.
So before we hop over to the analyst desk, take a look at some graphs, but I want to ask both of you guys for some, not closing thoughts just yet, but thoughts on this last game. Was this won and lost in the pick and ban phase?
I don't think so. I think Northern Storm had actually a really good comp. I know the analyst desk talked about it a little bit. Like, this is, from the 3 games, this is the one I would want them to run all 3 games if you had to choose one. I think they did really well executing on it in the early game. I think it started to fall apart when they tried to make plays in the top lane that weren't working out, and they continued to do them for a little bit longer before they wised up and pulled the plug on that.
Yeah, I think that the comp was definitely better from Northern Storm here. I know Chaosix on the desk right before this game was talking about maybe something like an Orianna might have been better than the Nico here. I understand why Slack picked the Nico, because I think it was just last week we actually saw Gregorsaurus really play well on a Nico against Diana, Brandana's Diana, in lane. So maybe that's what they had in mind, but it seemed like the Nico ults were never really very effective in this game. So maybe something else would have been better. Other than that, though, I mean, that's the only nitpicky thing I can really point at. I thought this comp was pretty good. Maybe just the execution a little bit better from Blitzkrieg.
All right. Well, we'll talk a little bit more with Jeff and Arcane Soda and possibly do some interviews after we head over to the analyst desk. But here we are with the analyst desk.
The execution a little bit better from Blitzkrieg.
With a little bit of echoing, but that's fine. Talk a little bit more with Jeff and Arcane Soda and possibly do some interviews after we head over to the analyst desk. Let the analyst desk catch up with us here, and here we are with the analyst desk. All right, guys, what can you have to tell us about this game?
A lot. Very exciting conclusion to this very exciting best of 5. Game 3 going over to Blitzkrieg, securing them as the Split 7 champions. Ooh, wow. Sorry, that stream screen distracted me. But quite the ending. I believe Northern Storm showing the high pressure front that they needed to. Completely different team playing in the early parts of this game, and even into the later points where it seemed like they were continuing to fight an uphill battle, they put their cleats on for this match, for this game. And it was a very well played game from this Northern Storm squad. We do have a few clips, but I want to get closing thoughts on this game from Infinite. Infinite, what are your thoughts?
I think that if this had been game 1 for Northern Storm, there's a good chance we would have seen 5 games. This was a great performance from them. I liked their draft. It was very clean. Bot lane, props to Token and Princess Peach for just doing really, really well. I kind of disagree. One of the questions that the casters asked was this lost at pick and ban, and they said no, they don't think so. I'm inclined to disagree. I think that Jester OG's presence, I'm sorry, that Pistol Crab's presence for Blitzkrieg is incredible. You don't let him get someone like Viego. There's a reason that it's banned so often. There's a reason that it's not being used in competitive play right now. Like, there are reasons that you just shouldn't ignore, and I frankly just disagree. I think that was the main nail that sealed the coffin for Northern Storm. If he had been on something like a Lilia, we saw so many of those team fights go in the favor of Northern Storm. They did so many things right, but that's just my opinion, though.
And it's a good opinion, and I think there were a lot of things that went right for Northern Storm. Let's go ahead and watch a clip of that. As you can see, this is in the bot side. They pick up the first kill in this engagement. Token, as you had said, doing so well on this Tristana. Multiple engages. There was one fight we observed where he was able to get off 3 jumps in the bot side. So very well done by Token and the rest of the Northern Storm squad to rally here in Game 3, at least in the early parts of the game, to show that they weren't going to roll over without putting up one heck of a fight. And if anything, the real winner of that game was the viewers. It was such a fun match to watch, and we're very appreciative for Northern Storm and all the work they put in over the split, through practices, and through these hard-fought games. But it would be it would be a big mistake for us to not take now this time after not acknowledging that and celebrating the success of this Blitzkrieg squad. The redemption arc is complete. And Jamie, how did they punctuate that? What was the end credit scene for Blitzkrieg right now?
Well, don't want to get too graphic, but Northern Storm showed some sign of life, and boy, did Blitzkrieg stomp that out really quickly. I mean, it was just they had their foot on the gas the entire time. Anytime Northern Storm kind of cracked back, Blitzkrieg had an answer for it. They had really solid drafts all the way through. I think, that it's just good play. Honestly, I don't think it was a draft gap really. I do think it was more rotation based advantages. They were first at most objectives. They secured most objectives. I think Northern Storm got one Drake through the entire series. That's really unfortunate for them, but just props to Blitzkrieg for making those rotations, making those calls, executing on them, because it just really contributed to their early game leads in pretty much every game this series.
Yeah, with a small gold blip favoring Northern Storm early on, this was still very much Blitzkrieg's game. We do have a clip of the ending of this match. Some very strong, really tiny clip for y'all. Strong counter-engage attempt by Northern Storm, but they actually, in comms, we were referring to it as a reverse pincer, allowing J-Dog to just walk into that back line. So you weren't able to win a fight on either side, and that just allowed for Blitzkrieg to end this out and begin their championship party. Very well done. Blitzkrieg, it is wonderful that you're able to end out a split where you went from before the first game during the podcast, me and some of my colleagues, as well as this community, not believing in you. And if anything, you showed you're willing to grab the lightning by the horns. You're willing to take the thunder from the gods yourself and walk away with this championship. We haven't had a feel-good story in the LCUS like this in some time, so we're all celebrating with you. In your victory, this community succeeds. Thank you so much, Blitzkrieg, for your hard-fought matches, your picks, your bans, the memes along the way. You are truly champions today, and we celebrate that with you. Thank you. We're going to hand it back to Kenos now for a potential interview. Folks, on behalf of the analyst desk, it has been a pleasure to be with you tonight on camera. We're going to try some stuff like this in the future, so please make sure you keep your eyes out on us. We're going to be keeping our eyes on you. Have a good night.
Yep. Thank you very much, analyst desk, and once again, congratulations to Blitzkrieg. And we will head into the interview. Hopefully don't catch anyone in the middle of something embarrassing. And here we are. Got a full house here, the entire team of Blitzkrieg, along with Jeff and Arcane Soda. And so, as per tradition in these sorts of mass team interviews, we'll just kind of go down the positions for questions and comments. So, J-Dog, we'll start with you.
Sounds good.
Once again, congratulations on your impressive turnaround from last split. Being a targeted ban in every one of these games with your Darius, but definitely flexed around with your champion pool. How were you preparing for this finals game?
Well, for this finals game, I expected after week 3 I would never play Darius again, and so that's always been part of my preparation. I just wanted to come in with a strong mental. I know I have 4 really solid players below me on the map. So the biggest thing for me was just not playing the same things I had played all split, which was the set Darius Malphite. I wanted to switch it up a bit. Went with set game 1 because I was a little uncomfortable, and then I figured, you know what? Jax Renekton were my staples last split. Let's see if they'll work again. They ended up doing their job, and just really happy that we were able to win it. It's a team thing. It wasn't all me, but I'm glad that I was a part of it and that I did have an impact in the games.
Yep, absolutely. Jeff, any questions for J-Dog?
Just how did you view your lane matchup? Because on the podcast earlier this week, I kind of expected, if you didn't get Darius, for it to be, sort of a wet noodle fight, just sort of, farming, back and forth, tug of war. Did you, sort of see it playing out that way, or did you expect it to be, kind of the bloodbath that it was, at least in those first 2 games?
To be quite honest, I was hoping Northern Storm wouldn't make finals because I feel like Sexy Bidet just he's a better top laner than me. I don't think there's a question of that. I think the champions that we saw tonight didn't allow him to highlight that. But coming into tonight, I was really worried I was going to spend the entire series just getting gapped, playing from behind, and trying to draw pressure, split pushing, so my team could win the games for us.
Arcane Soda, you got anything for him?
So we saw him. You talked briefly about his champions that he was on tonight about not being able to showcase that. So what's your opinion on playing against the tank champions that we've seen him play tonight? Do you prefer playing against like carry top laners, bruiser top laners, or the tanks that we saw tonight?
Personally, I don't believe tanks belong in the game in any way, shape, or form. I think Kenos agrees with me on that. And ranged champions don't belong up there either. I think top lane is meant for split pushers and bruisers. If you want to play a tank, play it support, play it jungle. But top lane, season 10 and season 11, it's an island, right? If you put a tank up in an island, they're forced to TP to get into a fight, or they lose pressure to the split pusher. If they're at the fight without the teleport. So I think personally putting someone like Sexy Bidet on tanks 3 times in a row was kind of a mistake. Had he been on a bruiser or something that he would have been able to get a lead on his own and then, keep me behind all game, I think it would have been a much different series.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. Did J-Dog say something stupid?
He said you don't like tanks?
Yeah. That sounds like me. Moving on, Pistol Crab. So, Crab, I think that people, when they look back at this game in LCUS history, there's going to be a picture of your face on Vigo's body is going to be a big part of it. Were you expecting to be able to get Vigo in the games that you did, or were you expecting him to get banned out, and were you practicing other things?
I mean, we kind of discussed it, right? Like, it was either going to be Viego or Lilia. We had the Kindred ready to go as well, just in case. But they banned Lilia, the first one, took Viego. Banned Viego, the second one, took Lilia. Or maybe they didn't ban it, I just got Lilia. And then Viego again in the third one because Lilia was off the table. So those are my junglers. I'm super happy to play them. And Viego is just so much fun just because you get to play everybody. And it's just so fun to hop around like that.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely saw you, especially in that game 3, using things like the Nico abilities to clone some tricks.
That may have been my favorite thing because I actually do play Nico mid a lot too. So cloning back and just hiding in their backline while everyone walked by was pretty fun.
And as the jungler for the team, obviously you're the one who has the freedom of movement, theoretically. So was there anywhere that you guys were talking about focusing specifically with your roaming, or was it just more whatever's available?
It was kind of with what the map gave us, honestly. Even game 3, their bot lane played really well, and they kind of had us on our heels, so hovering down there a little more so. But beyond that, just basically whoever could help me out, I'm going to try to head over that way so that I can get help. And it worked out. I think we got 4 dragons in each of the games, Soul in one of them, Baron in a bunch of them. So just objectives were a huge focus for us, and that kind of just led me where I needed to be.
All right, Greg? Or not Greg, Jeff, sorry.
That's okay. Actually, you just took mine, so I'll just let it move along to Soda if he has something.
So I know we talked about this a little bit in the interview last week, I believe, where you said Jester was going to be the most difficult jungle matchup for you. So how did that come into play here? How did that change how you're playing the game or how you're prepping for the games on whether tracking him or needing to match his pressure or maybe mirror his pressure, he's pressuring top, you pressure bots, stuff like that? How much extra work did you have to put into that for this set of games?
Yeah, so as far as work goes, especially with Jester on the other side, and like, honest to my heart, I think he's probably the best jungler in this league as far as like a jungler, like pure player. So just not being reactive, but being active opposite of where he is. Because like even in the last 2 games, even though I was more involved, it felt like he was out leveling me a lot of the time, and like the Amumu was bullying the Viego early on in that game 3 too. So I watched a ton of tape this week on him. He's a hell of a player, and honestly, if I didn't have priority for my other lanes, I couldn't have beaten him in the jungle like this.
All right, cool. So Brandana, lot of focus on you in these games. You played different champs, scary champs, Zed for the first time in this split. What kind of champ pool were you looking at going into these games? Was Zed always on the table, or just someone you felt like playing?
Throughout the split, and probably through every single split you've seen me play, when I'm going into all these games, I really leave everything on the table. I don't have a plan going in usually. I like being very reactive in champ select, and I play a little bit of everything. I don't sit down and play like 3 champs or 1 champ the 3 times in a row in a game. I'm always constantly switching, so there's always something that week that's always kind of fresh in my mind. And I think with playing so long and playing every position too, really builds up my pool pretty quick. So was I thinking I was going to play Zed this week? No. I played it a lot in the past, and I saw the opportunity given the counter picking game too, and I took it.
Okay. And I'm sure someone in the chat probably wants to know this, considering what amount of beastly damage and presence you had in these games. Are you bad with any champs, or are you just unbannable?
I think in terms of our games in this league, I think I am pretty unbannable. I don't think you should waste any bans on me. I think I can play most champions to a pretty good level where I won't pick anything that I'm not going to be comfortable with, and especially mid pool, I'm pretty comfortable on more than 10 champions, and same with ADC. And so I think it's hard.
All right. Jeff, any questions?
Yeah, I mean, you were just talking about the vastness of your champion pool and everything. This is something that I like to. This isn't specific to this series, but I just like to get players' takes on this. I've always felt like when you're down in the silver, gold, platinum, ELO, you don't really need to be a slave to what's top tier that particular match, that particular patch. You can play stuff that is a little off meta as long as you know what you're doing with it. Is that a thinking you subscribe to, or do you tend to gravitate towards what is literally mathematically strong at that point?
No, and being an AD main, I would take every single game. I would look at what's being picked, what my team picked, what little things that I can pick through a champ that would help our team the most, and go with that. If we need a carry, we need a carry. If we're lacking a little AP damage, you pick something with maybe on hit, or like Corki, who does a lot of AP damage, or Kaisa, who does a lot of AP damage. If you have facing a lot of tanks, then you go Kaisa or Vayne. Like it's always changing.
Got anything, Soda?
I think what I had's kind of been covered already.
All right, then we will move on. Tilted Pig. So, you guys had very solid performances down in the bot lane all game, and just a lot of good damage output as well. But going into this matchup against Token, who plays kind of weird stuff, though not so much today, and Peach, who's always a very aggressive and well-played support, were you thinking you'd be a little more cautious, or were you just going in with a more, aggressive sort of game plan?
Actually, the whole week I was very scared of if Token picked up Tristana. I was like, every day I'd tell some teammate, I'm like, I really hope they just don't play Tristana. And then I was like, do I pick it away from them or something? And they're like, no, you just play Misfortune. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. And then they banned it, and I was like, okay, I guess Kaisa. But I really, they going in for like how aggressive we play, we were definitely more, I'd say, responsive to how Princess Peach and Token were wanting to like feel the lane out. I think in game 1 or 2, they had a double stun bot lane, and we were just like, okay, we just wait out the stuns, and then we can try to make something. If not, we just sit around. We had to play around them. They played really well, and actually game 3 when they got the Tristana and Rel, shout out to both of them. They played so well. They were catching us pre-level 2, level 6. Like every time we're like, hey, maybe we can make something happen, they were jumping on us and making our lives miserable. So shout out to them.
All right, Jeff?
It's something that a lot of people have been saying, and I actually have to admit I haven't really done any numbers on it whatsoever, but it seems like you and Smokey were often, sort of playing weak side for this team throughout the split. Maybe, less prioritized, just sort of put in a position to just like survive. Do you agree with that? And if so, do you find it difficult to play that way?
I think we would like to play, just if I could choose, I'd like to play mega aggressive, just going crazy in bot lane. That would be how I'd like to play. But with our team and how everyone is kind of capable of that as well, we realized like, no, as long as we don't ever bleed out, as long as we just keep it cool, and like if we get an advantage, great, but we don't need it. That's just how our team can win in an easier fashion with less risk, maybe less reward. But it worked for how Smokey and I were kind of feeling out the games initially earlier in the split. So yeah, I think overall we would have liked to play maybe more aggressive, but I'm just glad my team let me play Misfortune, because often that's kind of like it's a risky pick because it can easily be kind of countered pretty well sometimes, and they always were allowing me to play that, and that's an aggressive ADC, so I was just happy with that. So
awesome.
And I guess to half piggyback on that, kind of, this was one of the series where you seemed like less of a primary carry than you have in previous matches. So, like, how difficult is that adjustment to make to, like, kind of be, like you said, just the playstyle change of holding your own rather than being super aggressive? Like, how difficult is to make that adjustment?
I mean, mentally it's fine because I trust my teammates with everything. So it's very easy to pass that whatever I'm passing. I guess just being like, hey, like I'm going to be behind, but like I'll still get the damage, or I'll still do what I can, and knowing that my teammates can cover for me is really nice. I mean, the crowd is always like, hey, do we need Jinx on bot? Do I need to do something there? So it's just like, and then Brandana is constantly looking for a gank bot. It's nice to be able to play with teams that are willing to work with if I'm weak in a game. So yeah, no, it wasn't too bad to allow it to happen. I'm just glad my teams were super supportive of it too.
All right, and Smokey.
Yes, sir.
Well, first, thank you for playing the best Swain skin. I appreciate it.
Man, I did it just for you. I knew one of you. I was like, somebody had said they really liked the Tyrant one, so I had to pull that one out. But
and to start off with, how does it feel to be the most bullied Swain of LCUS?
Yeah, it was as soon as I saw Peach on Rel, I'm like, oh god damn it! Like this is not gonna go well, because I've seen his Rel in the past, and it's not fun. And I'm like, is Swain really going into this? Like, yeah, because I think they picked the Rel first. And I was like, you know what, maybe I can, E behind her, and I'll just do it. Third time's a charm, as I say. So, why not keep it rolling? It's worked in the past. So, yeah, just those engages, man. I was getting like, half tilted. I'm like, all right, Dave, what are we doing here? What are we doing? But they wound up pulling through with the rest of the team, and these guys is just. Like, J-Dog was saying, everybody was saying we can count on each other, and we're so communicative with everything that's going on. Yeah, we can read some of the stuff that's on the maps and stuff, but we're always talking to each other about what's going on, what can we do, what's available, what's that. So it was rough in the beginning, very rough.
And I mean, that follows up into my next question, which is something that we casters talked about during the games. You always seem to be a little forward as the Swain, especially before you managed to get some durability under your belt. Is that just how you play Swain, or was Northern Storm just able to get the upper hand positionally on you?
I think both. I like Tilted. I'm aggressive. I'm just like I'm fidgety. I think is like the main component of like I just want to do something. So like sitting there and like kind of play, tossing an E out and waiting for someone to clip or whatever. But like, I don't think I'm still fairly new. I guess I'm playing for about like a year now, a little over a year, and like I forget that I could just get, as you saw in this last game, that just I'm deleted in like 2 seconds, and I just forget that sometimes, and I'm like always trying to provide vision for my guys and trying to make plays happen, whether it's a stun, what have you. But yeah, I just get caught out a lot, and it's something that needs to be rectified.
All right, Jeff.
Yeah, specifically, they were picking on you. It seemed like you were the initial focus quite a lot in that series. I want to ask you if you remember this as specifically as I do. At the very end of that game 3, the last fight popped off with them running at you, and Token did one of his signature aggressive rocket jumps at you, and then you just pop stopwatch, and they all just got mopped up right afterward. How good did that feel for you after how the rest of the series was going?
It felt amazing because they're like, Dave, they're like, Smokey, get out. I'm like, all right, screw it. I can't. I'm ulting. Let's turn this around something because he's going to bandage me or something like that. So I just wasn't fast enough. I don't think I had flash available. I was like, hats over the wall. Let's do it. I gotta ulti. I gotta do stuff. So all of a sudden he jumped over. I put the stopwatch down, and then I saw him kind of behind us, and he had I was looking towards like him more so because he was behind us. Everybody else was focused at the front, and I'm just like trying to spam keys, slamming my keyboard, and realized just pop my R again, and then tried to throw the ignite out or something, and it wound up just finalizing everything, and it was just it wound up being a great initialization of a fight, but that wasn't supposed to be, but it wound up turning it all around and ending it off of it coincidentally. So
nice. Go ahead,
Sam. Kind of following up on that, like it seemed, I know we talked about this for pretty much all the questions, but like you said, you sometimes get a little fidgety, step up a little bit, and they kind of collapse on you and all that stuff. At some point, does that just basically become just a way to bait the enemy team into favorable fights for you guys? Because like almost every time your team has all collapsed down on those fights and brought them together for you guys.
I think subliminally they know that. All right, let's go. They're all like telepathically telling each other, all right, Smokey's gonna get caught out. We need to be ready for this. Like, what can we do to turn this around in our favor, and stuff like that. But yeah, all jokes aside, I need to be aware of my surroundings more. Like my macro play isn't all there. Like my laning phase, I kind of get through, and then like once mid game rolls around, I'm like, all right, what needs to be done? I just try and provide vision every step of the way possible, just to make sure, because Crab and Brandana and Pig can see, that's the name of the game. So then we'll be able to at least know where people are. So Crab can do those awesome ganks. So Brandana can roam down mid, or J-Dog can TP down, because they're always talking about, hey, TP in 5, TP in 1 minute, I can TP here, place a ward here, this, that, and the other. So but I mean, I just got to give it up to these guys for all of our communications that we do, and it's really shown out there on the Rift, because it's great. And I had a really good time this season. Thanks for hosting all this stuff and everything, guys. Really appreciate it.
And I guess to reinforce that little bit of communication you guys have been emphasizing, there's been multiple times that you've stepped up, but you've never stepped forward a little too far, but you've never really stepped up alone. So it's nice to see that even though you are going a little bit far, you're not by yourself and just throwing away a free kill. Your team's there to make that fight happen, to get something out of it. So
yeah,
congratulations you guys on your teamwork and just the overall win you guys were able to put over for this series here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that there might be some repetition in requesting or asking this, but if any of you have any shout outs at all, we're open to hearing them. I guess starting with J-Dog.
Yeah. first shout out I want to make is my team, obviously. Last split, I think I was one of the worst performing players, if not the worst performing player, and they didn't seem worried about me at all, like from the get go. They always believed in me, even when I told them going in, I'm going to get gapped. You guys are gonna have to carry me. They always reminded me, don't worry about it. You're gonna be fine. We've played with you. You're a good player. You just got to get out of your head. So their support and their constant belief in me was definitely a big help this split. Also want to shout out Ace. He's the only other player from Blitzkrieg last split who played in this split, and unfortunately, he wasn't able to make finals or win it. But tonight's win, at least for me, it was for him. Someone on Blitzkrieg last split finally went from the bottom to the top, so that was all for him.
All right, cool. Crab?
Oh yeah, of course the team. Of course you guys. Thank you for hosting all this. It was super fun, this league. Couple people that showed up in chat today: Quillet, Jex, Erica, Bebop, all you guys. Thanks for the support. Besides that, I mean, yeah, it was just a really fun split. Oh, also real quick, all the other junglers like in the league, like Mixed Link, Guidelites, Jester, Alonzi, and Burn. We were actually like talking every week, like, oh, these are interesting junglers. What do you guys think about the clears? So just like how, not just how competitive this league is, but like, because we all obviously want to beat each other, but just how willing everyone else is to help everyone be at the competitive edge that they are. So shout out to all the other junglers in the league as well as Token for going over draft in a couple of these weeks with me.
All right, cool. Brandana?
No one in particular. I'll just shout out everybody in the community. Thanks for allowing me to get revenge after losing split 1 in the finals. So this is my final comeback.
All right.
Maybe not final, but
Come back in the finals.
yeah.
All right, Pig?
Yeah, just a shout out to my team. They were super fun to play with. They were supportive and absolutely just a blast each week to group up and play games together. That was really great. All the other players in this league too, like it's just a really fun league to play in. And everyone's really nice and just fun to play with. So shout out to them, but especially like the bot lanes that we got to fight each week with all of them and the casters too. I watched basically every Sunday night. I'd stay up for like 3 hours before I went to sleep, just like rewatching these games, and I would just get a kick out of what the casters always would have to say. So shout out to you guys, always making things fun to watch, and yeah, just everyone putting this together. It's been really fun.
All right, and Smokey?
Just the team. My MVP Crab also as well for always being there down, helping us down bot lane, and also all the people around the league and everything. And the most important is my pregnant fiance, who's been dealing with my shenanigans the past 7 weeks and practices and letting me play on Sundays and not taking it too hard or anything that But just want to give great shout out to everybody around the league as well. Very welcoming to me, and especially being so new to the game, it was very reassuring to play in the league. So thanks.
Let's go, little Smokey.
All right. Well, once again, congratulations, Blitzkrieg. Very impressive performance this split. The other casters and I think, will slide back down to the broadcast channel to wrap this up. But once again, congratulations, and looking forward to seeing what your skins look like when we get around to that. So take care and have a good night.
Thanks again. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. And so with that is the end of Split 7. Congratulations, Blitzkrieg, like we said before. Jeff, closing thoughts.
Man, I know I wasn't around when Northern Storm ran through. I believe it was Split 1. And we're really, really good, but I got to give a shout out to Blitzkrieg. That's one of the most dominant runs through a split that I personally have seen since I've been a part of the LCUS. It's a pun we make all the time, but really living up to their name just seemed like an unstoppable force starting with week 2. So big credit to them.
All right, Arcane.
Kind of like Jeff said, this has been, there's been a lot of dominant teams in the LCUS over the past 7 splits, but this has definitely been up there to rival that Split 1 Northern Storm. It's been a very impressive team to watch, and in a very impressive and competitive Split to watch as well.
Yeah, and I just want to close out with a shout out to the community engagement that we've had this Split. It is no exaggeration that it has been incredible to see the enthusiasm with the gifted subs, the hype trains, the engagement, cheering for the teams. This is sort of, I think, what we all wanted to see the LCUS become. And hopefully it continues on. Obviously, there were some hiccups, and there will continue to be hiccups as this gets bigger and bigger. But we appreciate patience, understanding, courtesy, and all of those things that make this league so fun to be part of. And that always starts and ends with the audience that we have. So,
Well said. Really well said.
Yeah, can't say that enough. And yeah, I hope you guys keep an eye out. Discord, Facebook, all those great lines of communication, other sorts of events we might have planned, whether it just be scrims, whether it be anything else. And I hope that we see you guys for a Split 8. Maybe we'll finally actually get a Season 2, because I've kind of thought that getting these high numbers is a little ridiculous, but I don't make the decisions. So yeah, take care. Remember to play tanks, and we'll see you when we see you.